So we're still talking about midpoints here, and we're going to kind of work backwards. I'm going to give you a point, I'm going to give you a midpoint, and I'm going to ask you to find the other point. A bit confusing. So here's my question. You might have it with more words than that, but here's the basic idea. You've got a point, A equals 5, 2. You've got another point that you don't know. B equals KL, just unknowns. But between A and B, there's a midpoint at Q equals 3, negative 1. We're just going to call that midpoint Q. I'm not going to call my midpoint M because I need that for something else. Okay, so how am I going to find out what point B is? Well, this handy formula will definitely help us a lot. But first of all, I'm just going to draw this up so I get an idea of what it looks like. A, 5, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so that's point A, which is 5, 2. We have a midpoint at 3, negative 1. 1, 2, 3, negative 1. Now we call that Q, which is our midpoint, and we're going to say that that's 3, negative 1. Now, if that's point A, and that's point Q, point B must be kind of like over here-ish. That's my working thing. So even though I don't know the exact answer yet, at least I have a vague idea that Q is going to be, that B is going to be down here. Okay, so let's get to work. I should really use a uppercase Q and uppercase B. Alright, so it really is going to be as simple as putting some things into our midpoint formula. It gets a bit ugly, but here's our basic idea. So our midpoint, which is 3, negative 1, is equal to x2 plus x1. All right, so let's call B x2, y2, and let's call A x1, y1. Okay, let's put some stuff in our formula. x2 is k, plus x1 is 5 over 2, comma, y2 is L, y1 is 2 over 2. Just be careful that your L doesn't look like a 1. Okay, now that I've done this, I kind of have to sort of split into two bits here, because this is sort of a weird looking formula. This 3 corresponds with that bit here, and this negative 1 corresponds with that bit here. So I'm going to split this equation and do both separately, kind of at the same time. So I can say that 3 equals k plus 5 over 2. And I can say that negative 1 equals L plus 2 over 2. And now I can do these bits, this one, and solve for k and solve for L. So this one, I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. 3 times 2 is 6. And multiplying this by 2, the 2 vanishes. And then we have k plus 5. 6 equals k plus 5. Subtract 5 from both sides. 6 minus 5 is 1. And we're left with k. I now know that k is 1. Now, does that make sense? Let's see. It's going to be like, the b value is going to be somewhere along this line, because the k is the x value of it. Okay, let's keep going. This one here, I'm going to multiply by 2 on both sides. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And that leaves me with L plus 2 on this side. And then subtracting 2 from both sides, I'm going to have L plus 2 minus 2, just L. And negative 2 minus 2, negative 4. Okay, let's figure out whether this makes sense. I'm going to use pink here. Okay, k equals 1 here. L equals negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks good, right? So our b value is equal, sorry about the squeak, 1, negative 4. That makes sense. All right, so this gets a little bit confusing because we've got this formula, but then you kind of split that formula to do the x value and then to do that y value. That's what you do if you know a point and you know a midpoint, but you want to know the other point.